Hello, YouTubes. This is Campaign Train. I'm your host, That Guy Cross. Welcome to the basement. Tonight, I'm going to be continuing on the ship build that I've been doing. This is the first deck, but I'm working on the next deck tonight. Which I love. Oh, there it is. So I'm working on the next deck tonight. That's the same one that I started last week. I'm putting walls on it this time, and hopefully getting to the cross pieces as well. But we'll see. It's been a week, so I've got some crazy stuff going on. So this week I haven't gotten down to the basement at all. Last week, before I went upstairs, I did use the steel wire brush to texture the long lengths of the wood grain, but I haven't cut in the planks on any of these yet. So that's where I'm going to start first. I've got to do that on at least 4 of these pieces the whole way down, which means I'm going to need my long straight edge, not my medium length one. So it's the only one long enough to do that. I've got to measure out my little marks, put them on here. We'll do all that on the side camera here in a minute, but I am going to need the long one. You get a straight edge of any kind. It makes everything better. You really do. It's one of those unsung heroes. I use it for all sorts of. I use them for all sorts of stuff. Mine is custom fabricated by somebody. A friend of a friend made it for me, and it works out great. But anything you can get that's a straight edge, try to get metal just so the blades won't cut into it like they will with plastic or wood. So I'm going to be doing that tonight. I'm going to be marking those and then getting at least the inner layer of the hull onto these, but I still have to make these long lines look like planks. So we're going to get that in a moment. But I know that a lot of y'all like the behind the scenes or the what else is going on thing. So we're going to cover a couple of those real quick. Once again, welcome. If it's your first time, really chill streams. I just kind of hang out. I hope you're enjoying it. This is Lynn first, lol. So I just have really chill streams. I just hang out and craft some stuff. And I hope to inspire you, or I hope to provide answers if you got any questions about crafting things in miniature. So if it's your first time, welcome. Absolutely. Have a seat, sit down, enjoy it, and grab a tea or coffee or whatever you're drinking and enjoy. I don't get up to anything super exciting here. It's super laid back. If it's your 100th time coming here, I super appreciate it. And I love having everybody, whether it's your first or 100th time. I don't judge either way. So let me switch to the other camera. Longtime viewers know I'm going to have to switch the camera, then turn the light on. Otherwise, the camera you're looking at me in gets blinded. So let me switch that, and I'll cover a couple things I've been doing this week. Just a second. There we go. Okay. Now, I had to readjust this several times, but I think it's pretty good right there. All right, let me grab that light. There's going to be a big flash, and then it'll calm down. Oh, no! All right, so let's see. Things we've done this week. I found some really old primer. If you are, like me, an old, trademark, copyright, patent pending, if you are an old, you will recognize and been in the hobby a long time, you'll recognize the name. Oop, can't see the name, but it's Dragon Color. Dragon Color, I don't think still in business. If they are, they've probably been bought by someone else. Anyway, my paint, this used to be a really good primer in white. I hardly ever prime in white, but it is a good primer, and it was a solid hunk inside this case. So I added some water, and I don't know if you can see. Oh, that is super bright, but I can't really turn that down. All right, it's gone slimy instead of just watery, which is good. That means that some of the what's the word? Not the pigment, the other part is coming loose from the blob. Now, at first, for the first couple days, this was sitting upstairs, and I wasn't sure it was going to work. But I noticed that the water is making some of this stuff come loose in here, and so there is hope. I will eventually take this little knife and stab this into smaller pieces and get some. Oh, actually, it's much easier to cut than it was yesterday, and get a lot more surface area for the water to try to soak into, and maybe, just maybe, I can resurrect a 20-year-old pot of paint for no reason except I'm cheap and bored, I guess. All right, so let me wipe that off right there. There's prime reason I don't paint on this. Oh, I meant to turn this over because it's all scratched up and scarred up because I cut really heavy. And so if I flip it over, I'll be cutting on this spot from the other side, but it's a white background instead of gray, and I need to make sure it's not going to wash out the camera. So I'm not doing that tonight. I got stuff on the way. So that's not tonight. We'll try. Maybe by next week, you'll be like, oh my gosh, she's got a new mat. And ha ha ha. No, I don't. It's the same mat. It's just been flipped. And that's not really exciting. I know that. Okay. So brush, like I said, I was doing the texture grain, which you can see that the texture graining in this the whole way. Did that with this as per my last couple of videos. I'll go over it again. So what you want to do is take a steel or brass wire brush, not a plastic. It won't actually get the grooves on it. You want to drag the bristles, and you don't want to start at the same spot over and over because you'll end up with a weird mark across the grain. You just take this and as deep as you want to go, gouge it into the, drag it into the foam core to make a wood grain, faux wood grain. So that's what that's out here for. I don't think I'm going to need that tonight. Did I already do this one? Yeah, I've already done the deck and the wall, so I won't actually need that tonight. All right. There's been a camera bouncing around in this house for years, and nobody could make it work. Part of it didn't want to work. It didn't want to charge. I found I had to discharge it, and I found the cable that actually fits it, and I found out how to reformat the secondary drive in it. So now I have a functional extra little camera I can use for things. It does video and stills. It's not super great, but it is super a different angle. So if I'm filming something and I need a camera at a different angle, I can always mount one at a different angle. So I'm kind of stoked about that. Also, randomly, I've had this camera pouch, which has nothing to do with the camera, floating around in the house. So I put them together this week, so that's good. The housemate has been crazy busy. They've got a thing going on at the state fair where they've been vending professional pastry chef. So they've been vending their pastry stuff like that. But somewhere in between there, they managed to find, they were given this by somebody. I don't know if it was at the state fair at one of their previous shows. And so now I have a little toy car that I can use for something if I ever build, technological future things. I know a lot of people like to kit bash all sorts of robots and cars and stuff. And so maybe that'll get turned into something. Now, here's the thing I might use for futuristic stuff or for the fantasy era stuff that I like. Why is this stapled shut? Anyway, I found an old bag that's why it's stapled shut, is because I got it from a thrift store. I found a bag that I had gotten at a thrift store quite some time ago and came back across, and it has a bunch of little toy boats in it. And what I will be doing is converting these into fantasy types of boats. Like this, I'll probably cut off the fin so it'll sit flat. It's that sort of thing. So these will end up being boats to go in my eventual. I'm building a seaside town. All that stuff you've seen me build on the channel before. All of the concrete stackers that are designed to make a city blocks and all that. Those are all designed for a portside town. That's the eventual goal. So I have these. I have an old toy float plane that I'm going to cut the floats off the bottom of the plane and use as boats, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm building this ship. I've got the Fisher-Price ship I'm going to be converting and all of that. So those are towards that end. And I hope some of that was on camera, like I'm trying to be a professional. As I say every week, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you can, after the video's over, because you can't do it right now, after the video's over, please leave a comment down below. And the comments seem to drive the algorithm. I noticed that I've gotten several dozen, maybe even several hundred new subs lately. And that is either due to the comments driving the algorithm or the fact that I have been posting a little more on Facebook and some other places. So please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Comment and share are really the two big ones. But please like and subscribe as well. All right, so that's going to get... I like to leave that in camera. I don't know. I guess that's fine. Whatever. Okay, so now we can actually get down to business. First business. These are my Patreon patrons. Your name could be here. Y'all have all heard me go through the spiel before, so I'll do it really quickly. DC not only helps me financially, which is amazing, but also as a real life friend, comes over to the house, has helped with audio and video. So if you're hearing me, seeing me, that they help with that. There's also Patrick Walther, longtime supporter of the channel. Love that. Dungeon Matron, that's Lisa. Lisa also has her own Discord and her own YouTube channel. Her channel is not just hers. She and Carl of Carl Make Stuff and Kim of Questboard Terrain, every Wednesday at 4 Eastern, they have a getting together and crafting thing. And they have usually have a guest or some special focus. The first 2 weeks they had a guest. It's a new channel. First 2 weeks they had guests. The third week they had a special device that we're all scared of, but Lisa used and did not manage to lose any fingers. Go Lisa. And so if you need a Dungeon Matron's Discord, it's in the down below, so you can see it down there. If you need that channel is called Just Flocking With You. And then of Just Flocking With You, Tim is also Questboard Terrain, and Carl is Carl Makes Stuff. So there's a whole bunch of channels there. Then we got Solo Nick. Solo Nick has 2 channels. One is called Solo Nick. That's all the crafting stuff like what we do. And also has Climbing Moss. And Climbing Moss is what he does is about town and walk around and show interesting things. So the 2 channels, really cool. And then last is Mia Geek. Mia Geek has a YouTube channel. It's just getting ramped up. Has an older video on there, but is planning on making more. And is also available on, and that's called Mia Geek. And is also on a Twitch channel called Shadows of Arconia. Shadows of Arconia has like a rotating cast depending on which game they're playing, but they play tabletop games where you can watch them do that. And sometimes Mia is on that, and also has their own channel. So also has their own Discord. So if you need the Discord, come to my Discord and I'll let you know about Miss Mia's. Okay, now we're done with business. Okay, now we're back to this camera. Okay. Oh, excuse me. Allergies are horrible this week. Okay, so this one, I think I divided it into 1/8 last time. This is 2.5 inches wide. I don't know if you can see that, but it's 2.5 inches wide. And so 1/4 inches would actually make a little bit more sense, but it's easier for my eye and my hand coordination to just mark the middle, and then the middle, and the middle, and the middle. That gives me 8 planks, and that ends up looking like this. Now, I actually don't like the way these turned out on the bottom where they're all like kind of matched up, so I'm going to do that a little differently, but that's just as we go along. Now, this one, I managed to get the whole side of the ship out of 1/2, so I only needed 1 piece to do this whole piece. I will need 4 to do the next deck up because it is noticeably larger. Noticeably larger. So this one will actually need a whole one for the inside on each side and a whole one for the outside on each side. And I'm going to end up with about a third of one left over 4 times. So I only need 4 of these up here right now. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm just going to do that with just eyeballing it, like I said, with measuring it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make little marks once and then just duplicate those marks repeatedly onto the other pieces, and then switch them around to the other end and then draw all these lines at once. So, hey, Loosely Collected, how you doing? I wondered if you were going to get by Carl's thing earlier today, but I didn't see you. I'm sorry about that. Good to see you here, though. Excuse me. So, Loosely Collected, that's LC, comes by a lot, is also on my Discord, and I super appreciate that. And, yeah, so, I guess since I'm literally just drawing marker lines on this to get the ball rolling, it's time for me to ask the inevitable question. Anybody out there crafting, or are you just hanging out? Either one is fine. I just said I wasn't going to turn this around yet, and I turned it around. What are you going to do? So, like I said, I'm marking this into 1/8 just because it's easier than marking it in 10ths. And then I'm going to take that and offset each of these, and then I can just follow that down and make all those other marks. Just ooh, that one got a little squirrely in the grain, or in the grain of the foam there. Yes, foam does have a grain. I don't know how to explain that any better than it does, but sometimes it doesn't run the direction you think. Sometimes it runs completely perpendicular, and sometimes it runs at strange angles. And I'm not exactly sure how that does it. I think that maybe the foam, while it's being laid down in the machine, maybe there's a head that lays the goo on this way, and then when it sets up and becomes full-fledged foam, that maybe it's continues to follow the angle of the motion of the moving head the way it used to be. I don't know exactly why foam gets wonky. Wow, I am jacking this all up. So, hey, that's okay. It's going to look like it was put together by drunk medieval shipwrights, and that is fine. I mean, if you were tacking the same board onto the same boat 100 times a day for the next 20 years, I can't say that anything about the way that you handle your private life. So, now, am I currently inebriated? No. I used to do that a lot. No, that's not true. I would do that rarely, but when I did, it was like I was racing to the bottom. And yeah, now I have bottles that aren't even finished. I don't know if, no, that's not true. There's a personal story I don't want to go into. There's a reason I don't, but I just don't do that anymore. I don't feel the urge. That said, a friend of mine and I were joking just today about if we suddenly found a way to trip into $1 million, what we'd be doing. And mine involved una más piña colada, por favor. That's right. I said it in Spanish. Take that. That's politics. Skipping that. Skipping that. No politics. Don't get me wrong. It's no politics here. I am all about some politics other places. If you want to hear me get political, find me somewhere else. I can do it. But I'm not going to do it here, because here, we're all in this together. We're all going to make our silly little things, and by little, I mean little, like miniatures, and go on with life. There is no point in getting upset. Too many other times and places to get upset. That said, if anybody wants to go drinking pina coladas with me and has $1 million laying around, we can work something out. Another line. Keep your stick on the ice. That's it. Yeah, foam has grain because of the way it's extruded, but I don't understand why sometimes it looks like it's diagonal on this foam core. I don't know why I can't remember the word foam core. I've only used the word for 20 years, and I keep wanting to call this drywall. It just got stuck in my head, and it's just, I mean, if the worst thing I do today is call foam core drywall, it's a good day. So, I have been on pug sitting duty while my housemate is at the state fair doing their vending thing. And yeah, I gotta say, overall, pugs make good people. I have no complaints about the pugs. They get a little annoying here and there for little things, but they're little pug things. They're not little people things. And I can handle little pug things. Wow, I got that all kinds of weird and funky and wonky up here. So all I'll do is I'll put that part, I'll either cut that part off and use the other part, or I'll put that part down low in here where you won't even be able to see it because it'll be hidden behind all this stuff. So that's one, and I need 4 of them. So I'm 1/4 of my way to cutting that. And I just bashed the snot out of my camera. Sorry about that. Got all home. Welcome to Wiggle Vision, where Cross hits things and has no reason why. Used to be a series of television things and like the Saturday morning cartoon stuff at the very tail end of when there were Saturday morning cartoons, and those cartoons were presented in what they called squiggle vision. And I actually really enjoyed a couple of those right in that era. I guess that was mid to late 90s. But yeah, neither here nor there. One of the characters on one of them, his name was Fred, and I thought it genuinely amusing. I don't know why, but years later, when I found out that the guy who plays him is named Fred, I'm like, I don't know why that amused me so greatly, but I was like, hey, I guess. I mean, they probably just went, well, we need a new character for the show. What do you want to be called? And they're like, I don't know, call him Fred. Okay. Hey, Fred, yeah, you want to play Fred? Sure. Think you can handle it? I don't know. Seems rough. Alrighty. That is line 5 out of 4. No, that's line 4, 7. That's line 11 out of 22. Halfway there. I don't know how I marked these and still got these. Like, anyway, whatever. It's all fine. It's all fine. Absolute worst case scenario, I have to mark another piece of foam core. Oh no! Think I can handle it. Think I can handle it. Whoop. Why are you trying to get squirrely on me, bud? I'm not trying. Why are you actively getting squirrely on me, bud? Okay. Okay. Once I do this, it'll be 14 out of. That can't be right. Yeah, 14 out of 28. I miscounted. This is number 14 out of 28. This will be halfway with this part. And then there's a whole bunch of other parts. Okay. All right. That's halfway there. Before I start this next batch, let's see if anybody's asking anything. Halloween display for the yard. Nice. By the way, this Carl Make Stuff's next challenge for this coming month or coming whenever it is, I actually don't know the date yet, will be from scratch Scarecrow. I've already started one. Y'all have seen some pictures, I think. I showed y'all one night, and I still haven't finished it, so I will probably use that one. But it was at least bandied about on the video day. Can I just use the full-size one? And I don't know if that was okayed or not. So, if you're putting up a Scarecrow, take pics. It's just a challenge. There's no, all you get is, I was here. You don't even really get bragging rights, but it was fun. I really enjoyed today's session. So if you want to be involved in the next one with a Scarecrow, take pics. Oh, by the way, this curve that's in this, that you can see on this, that's wobbly, that will all go away once I peel off the back piece of paper. That's right now. I'm just doing it so that it keeps this stuff a little more sturdy while I'm marking and such. Keep it on going, keep it on trucking. All right, this is the halfway mark on this one. Only 1.5 left to go on this part, cutting into the boards part. That is not digging in very deeply. I don't know why. I have to redo that one. I'll resharpen my. No, my pencil's sharp. I think I'm just holding it. Yep, I'm just holding it too shallow, too obliquity. I think that's the right word. For some reason, I, a not particularly religious person, have the song "Michael Row Your Boat Ashore" because I'm making a boat, ship, whatever. I think, though, if I had to sing a Christian-y boat-related thing, I'm going to go with the one from Guys and Dolls, where Nicely is singing, sit down, you're rocking the boat. Sit down, you're rocking the boat. The dragon will pull you under by the wide lapels of your checkered coat. Sit down, quit rocking the boat. It's a spectacularly good, well-written play, and I have seen multiple very excellent versions of it. We did a really good version at my high school, and that pains me to say because there's always that sibling rivalry thing, and at the time, I think my sister was kind of upset that I too had gone into theater because that was kind of her thing in high school. I don't think she was ever angry. She was just like, couldn't you pick something else? And it turns out that the artsy fartsy kid couldn't pick anything else. I had to do that. But she was the actress type person, and I was always into the technical theater part of it. I liked building sets, painting sets. The crafty side, who knew? Who could have ever guessed that I would have totally been into crafting stuff? In case anybody was not sure, I've been a dork my entire life. Well, there you go. There you go. What was my point? Oh, right. It was a good production. My sister played what's-her-face, the main role, the romantic one. And I do also like the movie version with Brando, which I remembered this time. I usually forget his name. I'm like, that guy. But yeah, it's good play. And now I've got that song stuck in my head, and that beats the heck out of Michael Row the Boat Ashore. I'm sorry if Michael Row the Boat Ashore is your favorite song ever, which I suspect is not anybody's favorite song ever. But could be. I don't know. I'm not here to yuck your yum. Just know that I prefer Nicely Nicely. Sing about sitting down and not rocking boats, which is funny because he totally rocks the boat in that, because he goes from being a gangster to being a preacher. What are you going to do? Or heading for the seminary. I don't know that he's actually a preacher in the play. But I was already talking about pina coladas. And in that play, back in my high school days, we were still allowed to talk about high school without being we were still allowed to talk about alcohol without being, expelled or whatever. And I have to say, the dulce de leche, both the dairy dessert and the cocktail, are both phenomenal. If you've seen the play, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen the play, you probably have no clue. But dulce de leche means literally like tasty of the milk. Tasty milk. Okay, so whatever. All right. Yes. One of the experts had the voice of the guy that does Archer on Bob and Bob's Burgers. Yeah, and Bob on Bob's Burgers. Yes, exactly true. That's not the same guy, but it's the same series of stuff. Yeah, because all of the people that were on the Squiggle Vision cartoon stuff, they were all like Saturday morning cartoon. No, that's not what I mean. Saturday Night Live and SCTV type people. And so, yeah, so a lot of famous voices are in that. Okay, now this is slightly more than 3 inches. This one, though, I think I had cut to exactly 3 inches. I had, and I'm going to use that for my plank lengths, because doing them for this one, they got all weird and random, and I didn't really like it. So each one of these, I'm going to start just randomly in one spot and go 3 inches from there. Then I'm going to start randomly off of that and go 3 inches from there. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So, all right. I think, to sharpen this pencil or use a knife. Nope, that did fine. So, ta-da! I've got one plank cut. Okay. And why 3 feet? I don't know. 3 inches. 3 inches in my scale is 12 feet. 3 inches in D&D scale is 15 feet. So that makes that a 12-inch or 12-foot board, or a 15-foot board. That seems like a good length for a plank on a deck. I don't know. Why? Just because. What do you mean, why? But why? You're asking a lot of questions for somebody who's not actually making this ship. Hey, I called it a ship, not a boat. Look at me go. Monkeys can be trained. I recently learned a thing. I thought we had branched off I thought apes had branched off from monkeys before monkeys had tails. So I thought we were like not related to. No, apes used to have tails as well, and we lost ours. I did not realize that. I thought apes were a completely separate branch, and we are not. By the way, we're all apes. If you're unaware of that, sorry to break that to you. So when I say monkeys can be trained, I used to think that's not correct because we're not monkeys, we're apes. Turns out we are both because of, you know, things. Science, who knew? And I may have ticked some people off talking about that branch of science because, like I said, I'm trying not to be political, but if that's the part that makes you stop watching my channel, maybe fantasy role-playing was not for you. So I'm sorry if I was the one that wrecked it for you, but sorry, not sorry. Okay, so this next one, I'm just going to randomly pick there. Like I said, I'm just staggering these so they look good and then going 3 feet each time. And this seems like it's a pain, but it's really not. It's really super simple, super easy. And if you're a weirdo like me, even sort of meditative, like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing now. This will be fine. It's the same principle as some people can't stand putting on individual bricks or shingles. And other people, that's like totally their jam. It's, for me, it's not my favorite thing in the world. But once I get in the groove of things, and I'm like shingle, 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 the next one and the next one, it all comes together. Come on. Okay, that part is harder to cut through. Okay, there it goes. Making sure that I'm bisecting the correct plank each time, so I don't end up with any of these like weird lengths or anything. Really, I don't care about weird lengths. I only care about 2 separate rows being the exact same length because that would not be particularly sturdy in an actual ship. All right. I have to get in on that. I don't have one for the yard scarecrow, but I am rebuilding a homemade Frankenstein's monster. Well, so you're Frankensteining, Frankenstein monstering a Frankenstein monster. I think that's appropriate. I know you meant to say it was 6 feet tall and posable, but what you said was I was 6 feet tall and posable. I'm like, are you not posable anymore? Happens to all of us as we get older, especially on those cold mornings you wake up and just nothing wants to bend. Yeah, that's a problem. Well, it's probably not what you meant. I'm making it 8 feet tall and standing, so it's a bit of a task. Yeah, I get you. I get you. That's a whole Herman Munster level of ness there. Okay, this one I'm going to start at exactly 3 feet back, but I got to have the right board. So that one I'm going to start at exactly the back row, back wall. It's not really a wall on a ship, I don't think, but it's the rear hull, the hull abaft, for those who want to get picky or want me to get picky. That's exactly. Oh, it's the second one. Okay, sorry. Thought I'd messed up my pattern, but I have not. I have not. Okay. I'm just gonna not go 3 inches from that. We're just gonna randomly pick a spot on this one. And could I have done all this during the week and saved y'all the boredom of watching me? Sure. But hey, we're all in this together. And this way I feel like I'm really showing what goes into these things. Plus, this week was not the week for that. This was, like I said, the week of housemate working at the fair and not being home, and me taking care of their dogs, and it all works out in the end. We're all in it together. Alrighty. On this one, we're going to pick here. And some of these need to be more firmly separated. All right. Yep, that is why our tailbone is one tailbone, especially if you've broken it numerous times like what I've, because well, skateboarding and BMX. I lived a much more active lifestyle when I was a kid. And I have broken my coccyx, which I'm not checking or spelling it. Yeah, I've busted that thing enough times that I am sure that by now it is a single piece of bone. I am positive I don't have any chance that that is multiple. That definitely is fused by now, which beats the heck out of the other parts of my backbone, because I was I'm not going to go into my whole medical detail, but let's just say my backbone is not fused correctly. So yeah, it's never caused me any problems, knock wood. Oh, it's going to cause you all these problems in your 30s. Well, I'm well past that, and it's never been an issue. So. But yeah, I know people with the same condition I have, way worse, and I feel bad for them. I like genuinely. I don't mean like, oh, I feel bad for them. No, I mean it's what I have could be literally debilitating, and for me, it is not, and for that, I am grateful. Oh, you're gonna be kidding me. That one's more than 3 feet. Ah, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Whatever. I'll find. That one. Okay, I'm just gonna put that one randomly here. And about 3 feet back. Again, I keep saying 3 feet when I mean 3 inches, and 3 inches on my scale is 12 feet. So take all of this with an enormous grain of salt. Plus, I switch back and forth between imperial and French. Metric, same thing. And yeah, unapologetic about that. I learned at an early age that I have 10 fingers. You count the thumbs, and it's easier to count to 10 than 12. So some people are like, why do you use metric? Yeah. Why don't you? But I have defaulted to what a lot of my Canadians do, which is when I need to be give or take, it's feet and miles. And when I need to be specific, it's inches and meters. But I can't even promise you I do that on any type of consistent basis. Insert Grandpa Simpson's joke here. I know the joke. Anybody cares? It's my car gets 40 hogs head to the rod, and that's the way I likes it. I've had this conversation on here before. I won't bore you, but let's just say that's not at all fuel efficient. Anybody really wants to be speaking of fuel efficiency, anybody really wants to be a super duper huge mega massive awesomest friend ever, I really like Volkswagen Beetles. And I've been watching some videos today, again, it's not the first time, about full conversions of beetles into electrics. And I would love to have an electric beetle. So, you know, if you want to be my friend forever, we can talk about hitting me up with an electric beetle. I fully expect that no one's going to go for this, but don't know unless you ask. It doesn't have to be a beetle. Anything that used to have a beetle engine in it. Carmangia, Porsche 914, fastback, squareback. Let's see, other things. Transporters, that's the van. No, that's the pickup. Transporters, that'd be nice. Or the van, which was not called a van. That was called a... What's the van called? It had a different name than transporter. Anyway, Volkswagens are nice. I like them. An electric one would be awesome. Not a modern one. One of the old ones that brings me back to my nostalgia of rebuilding them in the 80s. I did not build an electric one in the 80s. Though, there were electric rabbits and golfs back in the day. I don't mean electric golf carts, I mean electric Volkswagen Golfs. They were even around back then. I didn't get to ride in one, but I did lean against one once while talking to the guy about his electric car. I've always been into ecologically friendly stuff. Like, you know, electrifying cars and all that. But man, back then, we did not have the technology to do it like we do now. Here's the thing. Cars have to kind of be the shape they are because of where the wheels and stuff go, because the motor goes, because where the drivetrain goes. But now that we can stick the batteries pretty much anywhere as long as we can squeeze them into the frame, and based on that, we now don't have a drivetrain that's going to get in the way. I want there to be like cars that look like 1950s round-bodied, hot, you know, awesome-looking cars, not modern stuff, except, you know, like electric and fuel efficient, because there's no reason they couldn't be. Just a thought. Woohoo! Last one. Okay, that's all the decking done. It's not looking too bad. I think I missed a spot over here. No, that's just the way it lined up. All right. That's that groove that doesn't want to groove. Okay, now these little pieces are fully up here, and I was thinking I could hot glue those and like mush them down and get them to stay. But I'm about to put a wall on this. I don't think it's really going to need it. Okay, now I got to do the same thing I just did on this. But on this one, I'm going to use a different piece. I'm going to get a piece of cardboard that is more than 6 inches. I'm going to make these twice as long. I'm going to use this as my marker, and I'm going to draw a line and draw a line, and that's now crooked is what that is. That's all right. Close enough. Well, close enough. It's fine. This is fine. Now I'm going to take that and cut that off. And that's the new, cut that all the way off. Oh, come on now. That is now the new gizmo. So this and 6 feet. No, not 6 feet. 6 inches, which is 24 feet. All right? 4 feet to the end. Yes. And that took a big chunk out of that. And I don't care. I don't care. It'll all look fine. Let's, you know. Oh, guy, convert a Beetle to a 1-seat machine with a hole in the front wall between the trunk and the front seat area. So you can put 2 more. Well, there you go. Now there used to be a thing where people would take the old Beetles and they would cut the they would cut right behind the door pillar. They would cut off the back window and the whole back seat and all of that, and weld all that in. Put a new flat window on the back instead of the curved one, and turn it into a little itty bitty short bedded pickup thing. And I have a funny story about one of those, but it's just one of those silly stories. You don't know that song that has the line in it about there's a girl, my lord, in a flatbed Ford slowing down to take a look at me. Well, imagine that I am standing on a corner in Winslow, Arizona. It was in Winslow, Arizona, like in the song. And it was a girl, my lord. I'm pretty sure it was a girl. In a flatbed Volkswagen. Not one of the Volkswagen pickups. One of those ones like that converted into a pickup. It did slow down and take a look at me, but I honestly don't. I was standing in front of a corner waiting on a friend of mine to show up, and I was going to get back in the car with him. I had groceries, and he had gone to get gas. And so maybe she was just looking at me because I was carrying groceries in the hot Arizona sun, or maybe she was checking me out. I don't know. Life has moved on since then. But it's a fun story to tell. This one is not liking the pencil mark. This one, it was no problem. And even though it was this way, long way on the foam, and this one's long way on the foam, it is somehow seeming like it's going against the grain. So I either need to make this sharper, which it's pretty sharp. It's not really a problem. Or I need to use a knife. And I don't want to use a knife because if I use a knife, I have to do everything twice because I have to cut it with a knife and then still widen it with it. So what I think I'm going to do is just not and just move on. That said, this is really picking out pieces of the foam. Whatever. Like I said, once this has my base coat and a color to make it look like wood and this and that and the other on it, it'll be fine. It's all fine. Now this really does need to be sharper. I think what I'm going to do is take one of my sanding sticks and sharpen it that way. That way I can forget and get pencil dust all over the next thing I cut and sand. It'll be great. It'll be great. Y'all can laugh at me. We'll all have a good time. Knock most of that off. There you go. All right. Back to wherever I was. Okay. There's wherever I was. That did absolutely nothing. Excellent. Love that. Actually, I do not, in fact, love that, but what are you going to do? I have gone down a rabbit hole that I am just now starting to go down. I remembered a movie. It was brought to my attention. I didn't remember it. I remembered a movie today called Megaforce, and it was a horrible sci-fi 80s schlock flop kind of sci-fi movie. But I remember having seen it in the day, and I must have been the right age because back then I thought it was just the absolute shiznit. But it was not, in fact, the shiznits. It was, in fact, garbage. But I enjoyed it then, and I will probably enjoy it again. It stars, of all people, Barry Bostwick, who some of you all may remember as being Brad in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I, of course, back in the day, didn't know that. I saw Megaforce before, around the same time as I saw Rocky Horror, but it never occurred to me. I did not care so much back then about which actors are in multiple things. But that's not the point. The point is the main female actress, whose name I know it when I see it, and I'm like, oh, that's her. But she was the one that played the Deltan from the first Star Trek movie. The Deltan was the bald lady that put out the pheromones and made everybody horny. But just in case you thought Star Trek was all that great a movie, remember that. Just remember that they had a woman that was bald, made everybody horny. Anyway, and the woman that played her was also in that Delta Force movie. So I went down the rabbit hole of looking her up, and she has been in a litany of 80s schlock movies. So now I have like 8 or 9 movies I need to go watch just to be like, oh my God, this is horrible. Eat my popcorn, finish the movie, kind of thing. Just a thing. That's my deep dive I'm planning on for the next couple of days. He hasn't done anything on the ship. I wonder why. Well, he's been watching 80s movies. What's that got to do with it? Okay, that only some of that is true. But yeah, I really like Barry Bostwick. I have met him numerous times. I have done Rocky Horror Picture Show as in being on a cast for many, many years. Literally more than 1,000 showings of it. That's not an exaggeration. And since I have gone to Dragon Con several times in the last few years, and the production company that I did Rocky Horror Picture Show with puts on a show at Dragon Con, I've always been involved in Dragon Con, not in the show at the time, so I have never been on the show, but I have been on stage and certainly called out in the audience because none of them have seen Rocky as often as I have. But I have met Barry Bostwick several times, and he is a stupendously nice guy. Was a stupendously nice guy. I forget that he's one of them gone, but none of them are spring chickens. So, yeah. What was my point? Oh, right. That lady's in a bunch of movies I need to watch now. And I don't remember her name off the top of my head right now. I apologize to her and everybody who's her biggest fan. Okay. That's 1 of 4. I'm going to do basically the same thing all over again. I think I'm going to pretty much copy the exact same thing. So I'm going to start on this first row and then look at this and go from there on the next one. So, saw a guy convert a beetle to a 1C machine, raised the suspension for clearance for brush. Yeah, guard bumper on with the chain on the winch to pull stuff out. That's awesome. I've been in a lot of Volkswagen dune buggies that needed to be pulled out of places, but they did not have winches to do that with. They were themselves the victim of circumstance, not the hero to save the day, as it were. Yeah, I'm going to need to switch pencils. That one needs a full-on sharpening. And I don't know. Oh, this one needs... Oh my gosh, these are all jacked up. Why are these all jacked up? I'm not trying to sand the black part because the black part's easy. I'm trying to sand the wood part. Okay. Okay. Oops, sorry. Didn't mean to do that. I had to scratch my head and bump the snot of that microphone. I probably just deafened all y'all. Apologies. Okay, so the next one's going to go here. I'm not trying to get these symmetrical and have them all match. I'm trying to save myself the need to make decisions again. So I'm just copying what I already decided on previously. In case you're wondering why I'm using the first one as a template. But hey, at least this time I'm doing stuff in the camera like a professional. So that's new. You go here. You go here. And you go here-ish. Oh, oh. I did it wrong. That's all right. It's all right. I can make it work. Keep this one as the template. Do this one. Put it out of the way. I skipped a row. Oh no! The worst thing in life has ever happened is that Cross messed up a small piece of foam. The world will never be the same. Technically, going for that whole butterfly flaps its wings thing, that's true, but too late now. Done jacked it up. I have no idea why that suddenly reminded me of the song I Bless the Rains, but there you go. I bless the rains down in Africa. I should stop that. As I've said before, every time someone blesses the rains in Africa, Florida gets another storm. And yeah, let's not do that. Though it looks like this next storm that's coming up, nope, that was politics again. Let me skip that. It looks like this next storm that's coming up is going to pretty much miss the eastern seaboard until it gets to the DC area. Somewhere around Virginia, DC, Maryland area is where it will make landfall, if it makes landfall. So that's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen one hit there. I've seen them hit south of there in the Carolinas and roll all the way up through there. I don't think I've ever seen one hit in the district before. Y'all can decide for yourselves if that's a portent or whatever. So the other, I think I said this last week, the other rabbit hole I've been going down is watching lots of manga and or manhwa recaps. Oh, I missed an entire row on this one. All right, well, we're just gonna fake this one. That's where I messed up. All right, try this again. Okay, we are now on row 4. That can't be right. Oh, we're on row 5. That one I just faked. Okay, so I've been going down this rabbit hole of watching a lot of manga and or manhwa recaps, which is almost like watching anime, but not quite exactly the same as watching anime. But the problem is, I'm doing this in the middle of writing a role-playing game. So I keep going, ooh, that's a good idea. Ooh, I could work with that. Oh, wait, I could tweak that. What if I did blah? And it's not helping me actually work any faster. Getting my creative juices flowing, but maybe shut the hell up. Brain. I'm talking to my brain, not, no. He was like, so you're getting an idea for like lots of cool creatures and stuff? I mean, no, they keep having the same creatures over and over. They got the armored bear, wolves that shoot electricity, the bunny rabbits with the horn on their head, demons. They got all the same stuff over and over again. So I'm not actually getting any good ideas for creatures. However, I'm getting good ideas for ways the magic works and sociopolitical stuff for the settings. So useful, but it's both distracting and helpful at the same time, which is weird, but there it is. Okay. Once I get... Nope, I'm going to do all 4 of these. I'm just going to do all 4 of these because there's no point in me stopping. I was going to say, once I get these done, this one done, then I've got 2 of them done, and I can get the inner walls of the hull. Nah, I'm not doing that. I'm going to get all of these cut before I... or marked before I... switch to something else. So I'm just doing a lot of this for like the next half an hour. Hope that's not too incredibly boring, but like I said, it's a chill hangout stream, and this is what I do. This is what I do. Oh. Nobody said anything in the chat for a while. I think I put y'all all to sleep, which is fine. That's fine. Like I said, it's a chill stream. Y'all are snoring at me. My job here is done, and yet I continue. You know what I mean? All right. So that's the one I jacked up. Let's put that one out of the way. Let's take the next one and copy it correctly this time. One mark at the 6 feet mark. 6 inch mark. 6 inch mark. Not feet. I don't want to keep saying that. Okay. So next row is here. Next row is here. Next row is here. That's where I got distracted the last time. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Ah, I screwed it up. That's fine. Fine. This is fine. I'll just reverse these 2. Okay. Third to last row is here. Second to last row is here. Last row is here. They actually look better than the first one, but it's not the same as the first one. So, let's get moving. Gotta get up, gotta get going, gotta see a friend of mine. Cute and he's cut, and you love him because he's just Pooh Bear when he poo. Yep, I know. I've seen too many show titles. I went through a whole period of my life, I mean like 5 or 6 years, where I only watched the Disney Channel and Nickelodeon because there's always a happy ending at every half hour to an hour. There's never anybody that's like still angry the next week. There's never the whole horrible... I don't know. So I watched pretty much when I needed just background noise, I watched nothing but that type of stuff. Just to be in a happier mood. It's really funny. Now, millennials are start singing tunes, and most people my age are like, "What's that from?" And I'm singing along with them. And they're like, "How do you know that?" And I'm like, "Well, turns out that during the '90s, I was a millennial. No, I was not. But turns out that during the '90s, I did watch the same shows they were. Only I was, 20 years older than them. What are you gonna do?" Hard to believe that older millennials are reaching 50 or coming up on 45 anyway. And people are still like, these young millennials. I'm like, no. Boomers. I don't actually know of any boomers in my family. My parents are older than that and still alive, and I am younger than that and also still alive, in case anybody missed that. And yeah, I don't really have any boomers in my family. So all these people are like, oh, these boomers, they did this and they do that and they act like this. I'm like, okay, I'll believe you. I don't really have to deal with that. I have boomer friends, but I also have millennial friends. I don't have any zennial friends or whatever they're called this week. Because first one of them to ask me, what's a CD-ROM? I'm going to punch in the throat. I would not really do that. I'll just swap all their electronic devices from USB-C to USB-B and watch them try to figure out why their stuff won't plug in. Technologically cruel. If you are a Zennial and are watching this, well, sorry. By the way, you can't plug in your USB. Flip it over. It'll hear about phones that have to attach to a wall. Third to last. I am more than 3/4. No. I'm well more than half. I'm about 60% done with making all these little marks. I might actually glue a wall on tonight. No, it's 10 after 8. I won't even glue a wall on tonight. I'll just sit here and chat at y'all. That the walls will be glued on before next week. I'm going to do that. See how these are not really meeting up very well? I'm going to do that a different way, and I think I'll leave that till next week to do that. So I think this will come back looking like that. It'll have this one, and maybe a bead of glue in here or in here to hold them together, to stop them wobbling. Right. So I've been doing this for an hour and 9 minutes, and now YouTube wants to pitch a fit. So if I suddenly go away, I don't know if y'all can hear this or not, but if I suddenly go away, well, that was YouTube's fault, not mine. Users will experience buffering. Well. Oh, now suddenly it says excellent condition after just telling me for a minute and a half that it was buffering because it couldn't get a connection. I don't know what that was about. But in case y'all missed it while it was buffering, if it suddenly cuts out on you this late in the day, I'm not coming back. So this may or may not be a goodbye if it cuts out. But otherwise, I'm just going to keep finishing these out for a few minutes here, and then I will switch to the front camera and talk y'all out. But that's going to be just a minute. I am going to start on that other wall because I want to get this done. And I mean done like completed, not done like the color brown. Though I may paint the ship the color brown. And by, you know what I mean, the color done. Okay. Okay, second row is here. Third row is here. Fourth row is here. Fifth row is here. Sixth row is here. Seventh row is here. And eighth row is back this way. Okay. Yeah, these are getting really bad. I don't know why my pencil's doing weird junk. It'll all look fine once I toss some paint and some base coat and then some paint on this. Plus, this is going, inside a ship probably. No one's gonna know. No one's gonna care. I don't mean that to sound belittling. I just mean that you gotta know where to fight your battles on this terrain stuff, because sometimes you just gotta roll with it. And other times you need to know when to sharpen your pencil. And while we're at it, sharpen your pencils. Make a loud thunking noise here. And then we will go right back to it. $8:13. I'm going to try to finish this wall before the 8:30 mark, and then come back to the front camera and tell you all good night. But that did not help with that pencil at all. Oh, dude. Anybody got any plans for this week, or is this just a week? It's the end of the month for some people. It's the end of the fiscal year for some people. So I know some people have got a lot of stuff going on. I don't know other people, but it's, work and probably boring to, they probably don't want to talk about it because, well, they don't want to talk about work while they're watching me make little miniature stuff, which I can understand. But if anybody has anything exciting going on, let me know. Anything really exciting going on, hop onto my Discord and let everybody know. I was expecting to get a lot more done tonight. Oh well. Sorry. I know that sometimes this is a little slow going, but I do like to show the entire process. I don't want people to think that, somebody watches a, 45-second reel or TikTok or whatever and is like, First, you draw the first circle, and you draw the second circle, and then you've drawn an owl. Congratulations. You know how that goes. There is a process to the art, and I like to feel that I am realistically representing that. I don't want to scare anybody off. And in fact, it's really rewarding to do this stuff. And when you get done, you're like, I did this. This is me. I accomplished this. So I'm certainly not trying to scare anybody off of it. But it's a little bit of a slow-going process. And sometimes you just got to grin and bear it. Like I said, when I'm not talking, when I'm just listening to something and just crafting, I find this sort of stuff really meditative. And I hope that it's the same way for some of y'all, that once y'all get in that groove, you're just like, yes, I am the crafty man now, or the crafty woman now, and here we go doing the thing. But I realize it is not for everybody. But I do try to be realistic about it. I've only got about 10 more marks to make on this board, and then I am done with that part. Because I've already marked this to look like lumber. It's got the wood grain in it and all that, so. Almost done. So close. So close. To this phase. And then there's 27 more phases. That's the way this works. Alrighty. Last board. Should have 4 more lines to draw. I think I've got 3 more. Two more. Nope. Just the one more. Just the one more. Aha! I am completed it. Okay. Now, these are going to get wrapped around this while this is suspended on this. This is 2 layers of corrugated deep. That's my elevator to where I lift it off so that these things can sit on each other. Even though this one's not going to sit on other things, I wanted the same depth all the way through the whole production. So now this piece needs to sit on this piece and then have these pieces peeled and glued on here. I think I will try to get to this one real quick, and then I am definitely going to call it a night. If I can get it peeled correctly. If it starts to peel and gets all funky and wonky on me, I will just call it a night. But for now, it seems to be doing the thing. Now, remember I said this bow is going to disappear the moment I pull this paper off of here. Not the moment, but soon. And that will make it easier to finagle. Okay. Now, like I said, I sometimes like to keep the black paper for certain things, but I have like dozens of these little strips like this in all sorts of different sizes. So I don't bother to save those. Those go into recycling. As you can see, the arc went out of it, but it also got a lot more wibbly wobbly. Okay, I'm going to start up here near the front and just work my way around just like that with the hot glue. So let's get that glue on here. And I'm only going to like the top of this arc right here. And I'm putting it on pretty heavily and thickly, since it's got a lot of this is going to actually soak down into the corrugated holes. And that way I can take this and run that around just like that. Now it's going to take a second for this to cool off and hold itself in place. As I said before, I typically use the hot glue on the not hot glue on the low setting so that it, 1, doesn't burn me, 2, doesn't melt the foam, and 3, sets up faster. So that is what I'm doing right here. And if you'll notice, I put this on backwards and I'm going to have to take it off. But that is okay because this entire piece is going to be between itself and that other one. So that's going to be completely hidden. So I'm feeling a little dumb, but not super dumb. Let's try that again. Trying to do it on camera, but I'm also trying to do it fast. So more precisely, I'm trying to redo it fast, which is even worse. All right, now this was in the right spot. Now this needs to go this way, and we'll try all of that again. I need the lumber on the inside of the ship, not the outside, not in the middle part. So, yep, I make mistakes, so you don't have to. Again, this piece is on that riser to get it the right depth. And that should be setting up pretty quickly right about now. I still feel it warm. You can feel the heat coming through here. Now, both of these are insulators. This foam and this foam, the cardboard's pretty good about sucking out some of the heat. But it does take just a second for this stuff to set up. Oh, I can still slide it back and forth, so that's not cooled off at all. Yep, that's what all I did is took it out and flip it over. All good. And somebody pointed out to me on another on a Discord that's not actually a crafting Discord, but they do watch my videos sometimes. And they said that even if I get glue spew out like this, like right here, whether it's hot glue or white glue, it's just going to look like tar, which is what they would have sealed the gaps between the ship with in the first place. And I was like, well, isn't that freaking amazing? So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. I'm not really worried about over spew, over spray, over goop, whatever. Wow, I got glue all the way through that piece of cardboard. Peel that out of the way because that's going to get in the way of this sitting on top of this deck like this. So that needs to go away. But I got it already, so we're good. We're good. All good. All right. And now I have just a little bit of time, so I'm going to finish off this one side here. Like off camera, because, you know, professionalism. It may look like I'm putting a lot on here, but it needs to smush across 3 layers. Specifically, it needs to be on the white layer, the top layer. And it also needs to be enough that it doesn't just disappear into the stuff on the sides. So now I will take that, put my spacer back down, put this on the spacer, which is the wrong way around. And then, nope, that's not sitting right. There we go. There we go. And then put that that way. Stretch it a little just to keep it snug on here. It doesn't really stretch, but you know what I mean by stretch it. And make sure it's at the right level. That was trying to come up on me. So double check that. And there you go. And all of this flexibility will pretty much be taken up when we add the second wall or when we add the cross pieces, which will be in here as well. So as you can see, it gets rid of pretty much all of that flex. So all of this wibbly wobbly right here will go away. Okay, now that I've got that in the right spot, I will sit that there to hold it, and I will switch back to the front camera, which means I got to switch off this one's light. Click, wobbly cam, wobbly cam. All right, we'll switch back to the front. Okay, so there you go. I have cut lots and lots of foam to look like lots and lots of lumber. I have taken some of that and then wrapped it onto this to make it look like the hull of a ship. I have 1/4 of this hull done. I've also got to do across the back piece, but that's incidental. And so, yeah, that's what it's pretty much going to look like. And that piece is going to sit on top of this piece. And then there will be on top of this another deck that's going to be a full deck as well, because this one's the ship stores. This one is the quarterdeck. That's the quarters where the crew lives. Then there'll be another one that's going to be a little bit further forward than this, but barely any further back than this. That is going to be the cargo deck, where anything that gets loaded into and out of the ship is going to go. And on top of that, there will be flat deck. That deck will be the deck. That'll have a railing on it, but at the front, it'll have a forecastle, and at the back, it'll have a poop. And the poop deck will have the captain's quarters and some other stuff. And I might actually put a true poop deck on that and put another little tiny piece at the top, but I don't really see the need for that, especially since in my fantasy world that I'm building, there's no cannons, there's no need for seeing if somebody's going to shoot. There are ballistae that shoot between it, and then there's going to be magic and stuff like that, but I don't think I'm going to build that. I think what I'm going to do is stop at the forecastle and poop deck and go from there. So yeah, this has been another super chill build. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. If it's your first time, super appreciate it. If it's your 100th time, super appreciate it. All I'm doing here is building stuff in miniature, having a chill time. Maybe I'll inspire some people to build some things. Maybe I'll show somebody some new techniques, and they'll be like, "Oh, I can do that." Otherwise, you know me, I ramble during the entire thing, and maybe people just find me amusing. Any of those is fine with me. So I try to do this every week on a Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, USA time, and if you build dollhouses, book nooks, miniature gaming stuff for RPGs, miniature gaming stuff for wargaming, just miniature stuff in general, fairy houses, any of that. If you like little things and you like chill conversation, come back and I'll see you next Sunday. I really appreciate you coming. This is Campaign Terrain. I'm your host, That Guy Cross. This is The Basement. You're welcome back every week. And until next time, I wish you luck in your campaign, whether it's in real life or on the table. I love you, and I hope you have a great night. Thanks so much for coming. Bye-bye.